Let's take Allison in Canada. Allison, welcome to the show. How can we help you tonight?
Hello. How are you all doing tonight?
Great.
Doing good.
Cool. So, V, I actually presented this question to you in one of the mailbag episodes.
Oh.
Excuse me. I'm the one that had the friends with benefits relationship, but I kept having like nightmares and getting triggered of sexual trauma.
I remember that. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, I was wondering what I could do to get back into the mood. So I started DBT. I'm on I just finished week 5, and I thought, and that has really, really helped. But I did talk with my friend, and he just kind of decided that he decided to break it off with me. So we're no longer we're not speaking, but it wasn't an ugly breakup or anything. But I did want to hear what Justin thinks about nightmares and trauma, and then trying to have intimate relations during when that happens.
My first thought is that's it's gonna, and this is not supposed to sound insensitive whatsoever, but that's a very tall order. Like, to be able to, I mean, it's depending on where someone's at, how stuck they are, how much defensive energy, like all this comes into play. So my head's kind of swirling, honestly. But we'll talk about nightmares first. With nightmares, it's very common when it comes to trauma that someone will have nightmares or flashbacks even when they're awake. So it's extremely common, and again, like, your body is not you specifically, Allison, but just in general, that your body is stuck, very much stuck in this time period, especially if you went through some sort of acute trauma. And so as that defensive energy lives within you, and it does for a very long time, or it can, even when you fall asleep, you don't exactly, and I hate to be a downer, but you don't really get an escape for it. There's no reprieve, there's no escape from it, because your conscious mind, I know that we want these things to stop and go away, but your body's not on board exactly, not yet. And so your body's like, I went through this thing, and now I have all this stuck defensive energy that has not served its purpose. It's there for a reason, and it hasn't served its purpose. So even when you're asleep, I'm going to try to discharge this. And that's kind of my interpretation of why nightmares happen, is that even when we are asleep, our body's attempting to self-regulate. And when I do dream work with my clients, what I notice is that in the images and the themes of their dreams, it actually looks like a polyvagal ladder. It looks like they're trying to climb up it, and sometimes they'll wake up in the middle of it, so they don't actually get to the discharge, and there's all these things that come into play. But to me, dreams are, the body doesn't stop. That defensive energy has to come out at some point. And so even when we're asleep, it wants to discharge that defensive energy, and its story follows state. So that energy attempts to surge. The story in your brain, or even I think the dream, matches the state, so it follows the state. And so it's going to be nightmares. It's going to be images of the thing that happened, potentially, or it might be brand new images that are just terrifying, that match whatever state you're in. So to me, that's what a nightmare is, and I do think it serves a function. It's just while you're asleep, so it's kind of hard to consciously embrace that process and allow that discharge to happen. But I do think nightmares are there for a reason. I forgot the second part of your question, Allison. Hopefully that was helpful first off, but I forgot the second part of your question.
Oh yeah, really helpful.
Okay. But there was a second part you had to it.
Oh yeah, when I wake up after a nightmare, sex is absolutely the last thing on my mind.
Right.
And so I was like, is there a chance to get into the mood that day, or just take what can I do to get back in the mood, I guess, and feel safe enough?
I'm going to use an analogy, and hopefully this is helpful for you, or for anyone, because it's again, I'm speaking just in generalities, and hopefully that comes across. But when we go through, let's say someone went through like a war trauma, and they, have that stereotypical, loud sounds trigger me, and I go into my like defensive energy. If they're in a situation where they're in loud sounds, that defensive energy is going to come up. So if someone has been through sexual trauma and now they're in a situation where sex is possible, that the energy is probably going to come up, right? So that's expected. I would expect that to happen. The fact that it is happening tells me that somebody, like, yeah, you're in a traumatized state, and now that we're in a similar enough situation, that energy comes up. That stuck defensive energy, which is probably going to be triggered by sex. Yeah, that makes sense. So the where I would go with that though is, and again, Allison, this is not just for you, but this is for anybody. Is what I know we want to have healthy sex lives, but until we're in the place where we can have that healthy sex life, why would we expect to make that happen? And maybe I'm hearing you wrong, Allison, but in general, why would we put ourselves in a situation where because it feels kind of like pressure, like I have to put myself in the mood, I have to do this, I have to feel the right way. And if it's for me, like if I'm not there, I'm not there. You know what I mean? And hopefully this isn't coming across insensitive whatsoever, but I hear, like, I wouldn't expect that war veteran to like go put themselves in a situation where they are going to be re-traumatized or triggered and then say, well, why can't I just do that? Does that make sense? Hopefully this is helpful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that sex is play, and it's going to be that mixed state of being a little bit pathetic, your heart racing, your lungs pumping, but it's also going to require a degree of connectivity. And, everybody's ratio may vary, whether you are lovingly looking into your partner's eyes and whispering softly while you take them in a personally fashion, or whether it's, hot, hardcore dungeon, sexy sex. It'll be a little bit varied what state you're looking to be in. But yeah, our sexes effectively play, and we wouldn't expect you to be feeling playful at a moment where you're feeling incredibly triggered and kind of sunk down on the ladder. So, are there ways to boost your mood or to maybe get back to a safe and sound state? Yeah, absolutely. And that's very complicated and the nature of really therapy and the work that Justin and I do. So yeah, there are certainly some ways to go about these things, but I think that all of that is going to be kind of couched in the goal is that you would be the best possible version of yourself, the most comfortable version of yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean pushing yourself to get into a sexy mood or, trying to force yourself into any particular box.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely. Like I absolutely want to avoid just having sex for my partner's benefit and like force myself in and then just end up being like, okay, I'm doing this for you, let's just hurry up and get it over with. Like, and I never want to do that again. Like I've done that in the past and I don't want to do that again. So like, I just say no and sorry. And, I explained why and like what was happening and what I was thinking and little details of the nightmare and stuff. And told him it had nothing to do with him at all. And, he was okay, but disappointed. And like, I just haven't been in the mood at all. And this has been going on for months. So I guess he's just like, okay. And because it's a friends with benefits thing, it's just like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Good luck kind of thing. So
I'm sorry to hear that. That's always rough. Even if it's not a traditional official relationship, parting ways can hurt. But I'm glad that it came as a result of you standing up for yourself and not compromising for somebody else and making sure that you were taking care of you first. That's really good. And that is going to inspire really good, healthy relationships with people who respect you in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and I mean, the DBT has really been helping, like, just to get out of emotion mind and go into wise mind. And, you know, because I've asked myself, I'm like, okay, what kind of mind am I in right now? And just think, okay, well, what would bring me, what would center me? And it's like, okay, well, what are the facts? Am I judging or am I doing non-judgment? And there's so much to it, and it's been really good to, and
Well, it sounds like you're doing exactly what Justin has been advocating for this whole call, which is paying attention to your own mental state and how you're reacting to your environment, and taking those steps to make sure that you're taking care of you. Allison, we're going to have to let you go as we're at the bottom of the hour and we need to wrap up. But thank you so much for following up and giving us a second call.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was great to talk to you all.
Absolutely. Best of luck. And I'm sure that Christy and Justin will be posting some wonderful resources as well. So
Thanks so much for calling.
bye.